everyone, Lauren Culp here, publisher and CEO at CU Insight, and I am so excited to be bringing you another 3 questions video interview with a very special guest today. So joining me is Tami Webb. She is the VP of Sales at United Solutions Company, and we're talking all about that big topic. You might be really excited about it, you might be dreading it, core conversions and credit unions and what you need to know. Super excited to have this conversation. So let's go ahead and just dive right in. Tami, how would a credit union know when they should consider to switch cores?
Well, I like to look at 4 key indicators. The first one would be renewal. Of course, when it's up for renewal, that's always a good time to take a look and see, are you doing your due diligence, and is the current core that you have still meeting your needs? The second key indicator would be, is the credit union growing with the core, or is the core growing with the credit union? Sometimes those credit unions are doing their plans all around that core system and not able to do what they need to do. So do they have third-party integration? The next one would be service. Are they meeting the needs with service and support? I've gotten so many calls from credit unions looking for a new solution from their current vendor. They'll give them a call and ask for help, and they're asking them if they've even read their manual before they've called, if they don't even answer the call that they receive. So are you getting that service and support? And then the cost, is the cost rising every year? There's some cores out there that rise annually, and they have a 4 to 6% increase. If you've had that core system for a long time, who knows how much you might be paying for that core system?
That is such a good point. I remember when I was at our credit union, we were going through our own core conversion, and it was definitely a big undertaking. So how should a credit union start their core conversion search?
So it can be overwhelming. Sometimes they're just like, I don't even know where to begin. So the first thing is look at your renewal for all the ancillary products and the third-party vendors. What are all the contract terms and renewal dates, just to know before you even go into it. And that's the first thing. Now that you've done that, then you want to start building your conversion team. It's important to put these key people into place, such as your project manager. The project manager would be the one that would be the liaison between the credit union and the new vendor. So you'd need to have that person in place. Then the ITL, what we call ITL, information technology lead. They would be the one that sets up all the hardware, the software, any system requirements that may be required, and seeing any third-party integration. They would be that liaison. There's a lot of systems out there that may need additional programming, and so it's good to know that before they go into purchasing that core. And then the last would be the subject matter expert, or the SME. Those would be the ones from the key departments that would need to be in place, that they would represent the department and come up with issues, concerns, things that they want to see in a new core. And they'd be that liaison between that department and the project manager. So once you've got that conversion team built, then you'd need to set up, what are the objectives? Because a lot of times you're looking at, why do they even want to change cores? And you need to know why. What are you trying to achieve? So some ideas that I thought of just to share would be maybe the integration. Do they need or want that third-party integration? Or are they good with the core that's all in a box? Do they have the price? Is it increasing every year and they're okay with that? Or are they getting additional services and support with their partnership with the new vendor? How about workflows and efficiencies? That might be one where they're able to change that workflow and eliminate all of the double key entry. And then support. Are they getting that support from their new core vendor? So once they have those objectives in place and that team in place, they also want to look at, what are the system requirements and what I call absolutes. And this comes from your subject matter experts, where they're looking at, well, for our system, our next system, we absolutely must have this, or we need to have this functionality. It doesn't make or break it, but we really need it. And then the nice to have, boy, it sure would be nice to have this in our system. Once those pieces are all in place, then they can build this checklist and have those in the columns for them. And then they decide to move into their core search. So where do they begin? Who do they go to look for? Well, a good resource would be CU Insight or CU Times or CU's Credit Union Executive Society. They have great resources. Or one of their credit union friends. What tools did they use? Going to them. narrowing down that search from those first 3 to 5 vendors coming in to do a high demo, high overview. Then they can then narrow it down to 1 to 2 vendors to come in and do that deeper dive. But remember, there's not a perfect core. Yeah, I know I said it. There's not a perfect core. But if you look at, do they meet those needs, those objectives that you identified and those absolutes, then you can't help but find the best solution.
Well, that's such great advice. I think for folks who are really starting out on their core conversion journey, I can see that being a perfect sort of checklist to take them through. Let's fast forward and say that the credit union has selected the core, the contract is signed. How would a credit union then best be prepared for that implementation?
Well, now the fun really begins. This is exciting because now you spend all this grueling time going through all these demos and marking off on your checklist that you had, and you've got the team rallying around. Now the work begins. And so if they haven't already begun to do so, they need to clean that database up. Purge those old members from the system. Look at all their notes, their letters, their forms, their reports. Clean all that up. The more they clean that up and spend the time on the front end, the easier the validation will be on the back end of when they build the test database. And so some credit unions have developed a theme, and whenever they are doing the conversion, and it builds the excitement and the momentum within that team. And one of our credit unions did the Harry Potter theme. And what they did is they each had each department took a different name, and they all had matching t-shirts. And then the trainer did she was like used a wizard wand to point to the screen whenever she did her training. It just made it a fun environment for a way to learn and embrace all the change, and then built contests and rewards and recognition around that. And that again builds that momentum. And so once you have those all in place, you then can begin asking the team, what are things that they want to also see put into that new core. And now you've got the buy-in from them. But then now remember, there's always one that's a naysayer or two, and they might say, well, this isn't how we used to do it. And so that's an opportunity to redirect them about, the reason why we changed was because what we were using doesn't work anymore. And so having these incentives of going through the conversion with these contests and the theme really helps set that stage. Now it's critical that whenever they're building the database, the core is going to be sending out process questions and survey questions, and they're going to have critical dates. It's imperative that the team all stays on top of that to meet those deadlines. Otherwise, we'll have a trickle effect and impact a lot of the other people, the third party vendors and all of that in the integration. So if you've ever heard of a credit union that had a postponement on the core, that might be what have happened. So it's important to keep to those critical dates. But once you've got that done and the validation of the testing, then the training can begin with their team. And the more time that they spend behind the scenes on setting a date and a time, maybe every day at a specific time, each individual employee spends time on that new system to get more and more comfortable. It will be time well worth spent, because by the time the conversion comes about, they just can't help but be successful.
That is such great advice. And I love that you bring up the change management element there too, as I'm sure it'll be hard for especially some of these long-term credit union employees to switch systems. So what a great idea. The theme is, I know when we did our core conversion, our theme was Star Trek. So everything was Star Trek related. So it's super fun. You're bringing up some good memories for me. Well, let me give you this as we wrap up today. Any final advice that you have for someone who is thinking about selecting a new core?
Well, the best advice I can give is just ask other credit unions, what tools did they use? Reach out to those resources like CU Insights, CU Times, Qs, for resources on core vendors to look at. And then build your conversion team, setting up those, identifying those objectives of what the objective is of that credit union, and then have that checklist of your absolutes. And then involve as many people as you can at the credit union, because the more you have involved, the more they're going to accept the change. And then take that critical time for testing and training. You won't be disappointed. By keeping all those things in mind, you can't help but have a highly successful um, decision in making your core selection and having a smooth conversion.
Amazing. Well, Tami, thank you so much for spending some time with me today. It's been great to chat about core conversions. I'm sure all of our viewers today had a lot of their questions answered. We'll put some contact information for Tami and United Solutions Company in the post here. So if you'd like to get more information about the great work that they do, that'll be accessible right in the post. So check that out. Again, Tami, thanks so much for spending some time with me today, and hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.